the agent can essentially decide its own instructions. Wait, what's going on? I'm not moving the mouse. Last time I showed you a simple self-improving AI agent at a high level, but today we're actually going to build it step by step together. So by the end of the video, you'll also get the system prompt and even the flow file itself, so you can simply drag and drop it into your own system. So let's get started. We'll be using Langflow, an open source low-code AI builder for LLM and agentic applications. And the best part is you don't even need to sign up to start building. You can simply head over to langflow.new instead of org. And boom, you're in and you can get started with building. Now, before we get started, I want to simply outline how the flow works and how the agent works. So first, we simply make a request from the chat. So basically make a user query to the agent. And so far so good. Usually the agent has a hard-coded system prompt and we would get an output. However, in our case, the system prompt is dynamically created and passed to the agent. So each time we make a query, this sort of subflow runs. So the system prompt has two parts. One static system prompt, so this is the usual one, and one which is retrieved from a database or memory. And our agent itself is programmed to detect feedback in the user query and store it. So basically we send a request, we asked the agent to always answer in haiku style. The agent detects that this is user feedback which needs to be stored. It uses tool calling to store it in our memory or DB. And then the next time we make a query, this information is retrieved from the database, merged with our static system prompt, and then passed forward to the agent. So each time we make a query, this retrieval system will be triggered. And that's pretty much it. So now let's build it in Langflow. All right, first let's get rid of all this because we won't need it. Then the first component we will need is the agent. So here we can leave it as OpenAI. I will already switch it to GPT-4o and we need to insert our API key. Now let's prepare the input and output of the chat. Next, we're going to prepare our system prompt. All right, so quick update. I'm now switching to the logged in version of Langflow, simply because I was getting this autosave message all the time. So I guess the guys at Langflow are still changing something. So this is still in sort of preview if you don't use the open source repository. So we will continue from here. So here you can create a new flow. We will create a blank flow. And now let's just add all the components, chat input, boom, boom, prompt, and the API key. All right, now to the system prompt. So I already prepared a system prompt. So notice we have a static part and we have this placeholder variable. So if you now press save, you can see I now have this connection for my placeholder variable, and this is the dynamic part we are going to insert. So where does this feedback come from? Exactly, it comes from the storage component. This is called message history, which is Langflow's in-memory storage. Obviously, if you want persistence, you need to save the data to a database or file, which I demonstrated in my last video, which I can link in the description. There's no direct component for this, so you'll need to create a custom component. If you'd like a full video on this, let me know in the comments below. Now let's first click on the component and go to Controls. Next, let's toggle on all the options so we can see them. We need a specific setup for this. I won't go into detail here, so just trust me on this and follow me along. Next, we need to retrieve the stored feedback. For this, we'll use the message store component. As before, we'll add the controls and fill out the necessary fields. We'll also need to enable tool mode here, which we can just toggle on. And voila, now we can connect the tool to the agent, such that the agent can use it to store our feedback. One very important thing is to change the description of your component. So this is necessary for the agent to determine which tool to call. Now we just need to connect our system prompt. In this case, we connect it to agent instructions, which is basically the same thing as system prompt. And now we're done. So let's test our agent by opening the playground. And we can ask the question. We get an answer. Great. Now let's give some feedback. Now you already see we can look up what the agent has done, and you see here it called the storage component and wrote this message to the component. Now let's add additional feedback. Now let's open a new chat to see whether the feedback is truly persistent. And voila, it works as intended. If we close and reopen the playground, you'll see that our comment session was created. Here you can see what messages were stored in the past and what the current message is. You can also check directly inside the flow by clicking on the outputs. So here we can inspect the output of the message history. And we can see the instructions it currently has in here. I'm honestly astonished at how well this works. In theory, you can build and update the system prompt entirely through the agent, meaning the agent can essentially decide its own instructions. Like, isn't that amazing? I mean, like, you can... Wait, what's going on? I'm not moving the mouse. This isn't me. Like, what? Wait. Oh my god. Oh, I need to unplug the...